Can you believe that there are some people in this world that did not tune in to the Alliance Vlog podcast? Shame on you!
Shame on you! My name is Ella Indy, and I'm one half of the NWA Women's World Tag Team Champion.
And I'm Kenzie Paige, the other half of the NWA World Women's Tag Team Champion.
And you better go listen to the Alliance Vlog. What is it called again?
Podcast. Period.
Or you're ugly. Pretty and Power approved.
Why are you excited to be here tonight?
Because I'm just excited.
Yeah. No other explanation. Now, I do believe, tell me the truth, is it true that your dad has a ringside seat but didn't get you guys ringside seats?
That is true, but it's because of his YouTube channel, okay? It's his YouTube, okay?
Her dad's an influencer. Let him go, guys. But your dad's awesome, right?
Yeah.
See, he's awesome! Yeah! Give it up for Claire. Thank you so much, Claire. High five. Yeah!
Mi gente, you already know who it is. The radioactive Poppy Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance Vlog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Poppy.
Hey guys, check this out. I am officially now sponsored by Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink made to give you focus with no crash. If you guys are like me, you're always needing a burst of energy, especially with one with no crash. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. It keeps me awake with no jitters, guys. Check it out. Merch link is in the bio. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is J Cal, and every Tuesday we come directly to you into your fine homes via your phone, via your laptops, your PCs. What other kind of computers are there? Tablets? Your Apple iPods? Is that still a thing? iPod videos? Do they still do that? And we talk wrestling with you. The hashtag NWA family. And welcome to the show. As always, I'm here by myself because that's how we do. And I see I got some pals in the chat already. Willie Bowen's in the house. Steve G is here. Jeremy, a.k.a. Wrestling with the MMA, is in the house. I want to say thank you guys for joining us today. I'm also going to remind you that on top of the other Alliance guys who will be here tomorrow at 3 p.m. East Pacific, that's of course 6 p.m. Eastern, at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have a special interview with somebody I would like to remind you guys of who this guy who we call Kerry Morton, the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion. And he'll be joining us live tomorrow on a special day and time for the Alliance Guys podcast.
El actual campeón completo Junior NWA. Con ustedes, Kerry luchando por México en el escenario grande del Preshow. Suena la campana, ¡gózatelo! En esta contienda en triangular por el campeonato completo junior de la NWA. Referee oficial para esta contienda a una sola caída, el himno del Tirantes. Es oficial. ¿Listos para la contienda?
I love that video. That was shot in Mexico City at Foro Sol by yours truly at the World is a Vampire Festival in Mexico City. So forgive me for using that footage anytime I get a chance. Kerry Morton has quite, how can I phrase this the correct way? Kerry Morton went from somebody and I'll say this to him tomorrow. He went to somebody I didn't care to see on TV. He's somebody that I didn't necessarily want to watch in a match, to somebody who I think is actually a game changer for the NWA. No pun intended, of course, but I really feel like Kerry Morton is coming to his own, and under this heel gimmick, this heel persona, I don't know that there's a better thing going on in the NWA. I take it back. But there isn't a better thing going on in the junior heavyweight division, daddy, as he would tell you. I don't know. This whole Southern Six thing we're going to see play out on TV, I think is also pretty unique and special. I think Silas Mason is unique and special. I feel like EC3 as national champion has tons of potential. I think La Rebelion as tag team champions have been amazing. I think, of course, Camila as women's world champion is it's perfect. She's conquered the world as women's champion. It's a shame that she wasn't a part of the Australian tour. Willie Bowen says, it's not Tyrus, thank God. I'm going to tell you what, Willie. What's up, Hisa? I'm going to go back to you, Willie. What's up, Hisa? And what's up, Rick? And Dave Scooby? And everyone else that has entered the chat. I'm going to go back to this, Willie. Thank God it's not Tyrus. I'm going to tell you what right now. If Tyrus answers a DM and says he would be on this show, I would have him on. With that being said, I would also tell him that I don't think he's a very good pro wrestler and that I think his best days are years behind him. And I would also tell him that he should step away or at least surrender the championship to somebody who could actually defend it. Because we have gone so many days now without an actual title defense. When was, and I'm going to have to look it up now because I kind of have to, but when was the last time the title was defended? At 312? When was the last time he had a singles match for the NWA World Championship? Matches. Okay, the last time the title was defended was against Chris Adonis on April 7th, right? April 7th. Okay. It is now June 27th on this day today, June 27th. The next potential time he has to defend that title is going to be at the NWA TV taping, which I don't even think he's advertised to be at. Their Highland Park TV taping on July 9th, and then, of course, the benefit show on the 8th. And so far, I haven't seen him advertised for either. Which means that if that man does not defend the title in July, May, June, July, then August would be the earliest, and it would be the end of August, 25th or 26th, 27th, I believe. That's 4 months. Now, let's keep in mind, when he won the title in November, his first title defense, won after acquiring the championship. Again, I have it here handy, so we'll just look at it. When he became NWA World Heavyweight Champion on November 12th, 2022, his first title defense was in February. Almost was at December, January. So about 3 months later, he defends against Matt Cardona at Nuff Said. A day later, he defends against Rolando freaking Freeman. And then basically a month after that, defends against Daga, who gets injured in a match, and they don't even have a full match. And then against Chris Adonis. So he's had 4 title defenses as world champion. And the time in between, like, if he skipped a couple of months here and there, but had, maybe 3 defenses in April or 5 defenses in March or whatever, then I could kind of understand, right? I could kind of be like, okay, well, you could justify it. He's averaging once a month. But when you figure it out that he's held the title since November of 2022 and has 4 defenses, I mean, we're past the 6-month part, and he's had 4 defenses. That doesn't pass the sniff test. Let's see. Doty's here. What's up, Doty? Willie Bowen says he wrestled Adonis. Yeah, he wrestled Adonis at 312, the pay-per-view back in, I guess that was May. Willie says you have to pull tires away from the Dairy Queen. Steve G says, is there no power today? Actually, there is a power today. The power is coming. It is more footage from Australia, which I'm totally cool with that. And we'll get into that momentarily. Jeremy asks, what's on the shirt, Jay? Well, I have a good pal, SoCal Crazy. One of the best human beings that I've had the opportunity to meet, both in and out of the ring. And well, I bought his shirt because number one, he's a cool dude, but number two, he is one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Helped to train a friend of the show, Danny Limelight. Freaking held my child when she was a baby on Father's Day, some I guess close to 10 years ago. And the shirt is dope. I don't think I have any footage of him to show you right now, but if you go onto the YouTube channel, which if you're watching from YouTube is very easy, after the show, here's one of the videos. I'll even get the link for you so that you could easily click it. But he was actually on the podcast as well. In fact, we'd had a great little interview where he was talking about he had stage 4 colon cancer, and they caught it early, and he's still wrestling. He is still wrestling, and it was it was scary. You know, he could have passed away. And yeah, okay, so you remember the SoCal Crazy interview, yeah. And as Doty points out, SoCal Crazy is an NWA alumni, and multiple factors. If you go look up Adam Pearce's title history, SoCal Crazy challenged for the belt a couple of times. Was also part of the early Championship Wrestling from Hollywood TV tapings, although they put him under another name. I think it was Siderreal or something like that. We talked about that in the shoot interview. If you check it out. Guys, I'm live streaming both here on YouTube and I'm on Twitch and excuse me, on TikTok. And the question on TikTok is, may I ask who I'm talking about? Just came in. I'm talking about SoCal Crazy. I don't know if that's who you meant, or earlier I was talking about Tyrus, the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. Just wanted to keep you up to date. I hope that answered the question for you. But SoCal Crazy, good dude. He's now on Twitter, so go search him out. Maybe I can find him on Twitter real quick. I don't think I've even added him on Twitter yet. SoCal Crazy. Let's see. Let's go. Let's see. Did I find him? Yep, that's him. DLB Shingong. I don't know what that even means. I think that's him right there, DLB Shingon. So if you guys want to give him a follow. All right, so let's get back to the NWA a little bit. So we're talking about we've got these TV tapings coming up. This it's a charity show. They announced last night on Power, not Power, excuse me. I said Power. What's wrong with me? They announced on the NWA podcast, I don't even know what they call that show. The Gary Horn show, the live stream that he does, it's a great show. I love it. They were talking about this upcoming charity event for Cooper, Highland Park Cares, and they gave us a rundown of the matches. And now of course I can't find them. I'm sure I will find them, but I can't find them right now. Let me see if I can find them. Man, sometimes I have my stuff together, and then there's days like today when I don't. Okay, so Oh man, I could have swore I saw it. Let's see. Now you got me scratching my head because I can't find what I was looking for. Maybe it's on Facebook. All right. Sorry for the delays, guys. I had my S better. I would have already had these matches. Okay, here we go. Now we got them. Okay. So some of the matches for the Cooper Cares charity event, Tom Latimer will be defending his television championship against Jay Bradley of the Fixers. That's kind of a unique matchup. But if you guys remember Bradley before the Fixers, that dude is a loose cannon, man, and he's got that boomstick that we haven't seen him throw a lot of those clotheslines, those clubbing clotheslines. This could be a very big challenge for Tom Latimer, and if there's any kind of match that could have a surprise of the night, that might be it. Tom Latimer versus Jay Bradley, so that's a good one. We also have a triple threat match, and this is kind of more on the junior heavyweight side. We get the return of Gags the Gimp, taking on Psycho Boy Fodder and Eric Jackson. That could be a lot of fun. It depends on what they allow them to do. Another big title match. You got the United States tag team titles on the line when the Country Gentlemen take on the Savages. It's kind of funny. I never really thought of it, but you got the Gentlemen, right, versus the Savages. It's kind of interesting. That's Jack Dane is a guy that I'm always going to stand for here on this podcast. So excited to see that also in action. We've got Robert Anthony. I'm not really sure who Robert Anthony is. He'll be taking on Magic Jake Dumas in his debut match with CJ. Somebody in the TikTok chat just said, Kevin Owens? Yeah, Kevin Owens. When I'm not wrestling on Monday nights, I do a podcast about the NWA. Thanks for checking it out. Then we also have Knox and Murdoch taking on the tag team that they debuted against, Daisy Kills and Talos. This is kind of a rematch, I guess. And then big title implications here. The National Heavyweight Championship on the line when EC3 defends against the former television champion, Jordan Clearwater. Remember, Jordan Clearwater is a former United Wrestling Network world champion. So this might be his step to getting back to that promised land. And then, of course, the Southern Six, they are running with it, folks. They are running with it. We're getting the Southern Six. It might not be the same group it was in Australia, but we're getting it, and it's kicking off with of course Silas Mason and Alex Taylor with Danny Dills taking on the tag team of Joe Alonzo and Mario Pardua. Alonzo I'm quite familiar with. Pardua I'm not too familiar with. And then the Women's World Championship will be on the line when Camille defends against Natalia Markova. And then, of course, man, there's just championship match after championship match. M95 defend their tag titles against the Paige sisters, Kylie and Kenzie, Misa Kate and Maddie Rinkowski defending their tag titles. That should be fun. All this is a free event, but they hope that people will donate to Cooper and his family, the Roberts family, I guess. Cooper Roberts was a victim in the shooting, the 4th of July shootings last year, and it's almost a year to the day. So it's sad, but I'm happy that the NWA is trying to do something positive for the community, positive for Highland Park. I don't think these matches are being taped. I don't think they're going to air on Power. I mean, they might tape them and release them later, but it sounded like last night listening to Kyle Davis, and he made it sound like these matches aren't going to air on pay-per-view. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Look, just getting through some of the comments. Tyrus, the pie-eating and hot dog-eating picnic heavyweight champion of the world. Steve G says, Tyrus is like Roman Reigns. He never defends his belt. Makes it easy to keep it. Oh, Steve, I get it, man. But he did defend at WrestleMania. And it's not like, look, I mean, that's an apt comparison. Okay, that's fair. Roman doesn't defend the title often. But Roman has defended that title against some of the greats in pro wrestling. Like, look, he defended against Cody Rhodes. He defended against Brock Lesnar. He defended against Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, right? He's had some like all-star caliber matchups. Tyrus defended it against Matt Cardona, Rolando Freeman, and Chris Adonis. Daga's not a heavyweight. That was a weird match for me anyways. Why would you put a junior heavyweight in a match with your super heavyweight? If anybody should have been in the ring with Tyrus at the World is a Vampire Festival, I mean, they could have went with Psycho Clown, who they, in my opinion, wasted in that match with Murdoch. Not that Murdoch is a waste, but they could have used him in that world title match, and it would have been. I felt like it would have felt like the title was more in peril. They could have put a couple of other heavyweights that are in the in AAA in that match. I mean, specifically, just thinking off the top of my head, we saw Chessman was there, right? Chessman was in the crowd. He could have been in that match against Tyrus. But that's I don't know. Rick, your sentiment on Gags is the same as mine. Oh yay. Hey, that's the fucking part of my French. I couldn't help it. Thank you. I take that as a compliment if you say I look like Kevin Owens. That dude is a superstar. I am far from it, but my wife seems to think I'm attractive, so I've got that going for me. But going back to you're putting Gags the Gimp on a charity show for a young man who was shot. That just feels not appropriate. When we know what Gags the Gimp is supposed to be. I mean, come on, for fuck's sakes. Billy, be better. And it's not like I don't like Johnny Yuma, right? I wasn't supposed to say that. I like Yuma. He's a great talent. This is a stupid, awful gimmick. It is. And I'm sure he's pushing it because it's more camera time for him. But I'd rather see Captain Yuma out there as opposed to the Gimp. I don't normally spoil things, but I did there. Jetty Flower says, I remember you at WWE SummerSlam. Hey, cool, man. That's awesome. If you remember me from SummerSlam, I wasn't at SummerSlam, but I'm sure you're thinking of Kevin Owens and you like the account. So yes, thank you for liking the account. Dave Scooby says, in my opinion, anytime I can tape matches, do it. Build up your library just in case you need extra. Yes. And I do hear, like I was listening to Kyle and Joe and Gary on their podcast, and they made reference like, look, it's not cheap to film wrestling. And I know it's not. I've heard for years that the TV tapings, an hour-long studio wrestling show can cost upwards of $10,000 to do, which is a hell of a lot of money. And if you extrapolate that over 10 days, it's $100,000. And they weren't in a studio. They were at live concert events. So I get where this is difficult. But you know what, man? Don't sit there and tell me that, like, you need to have a $1 million studio camera to do this, because not my iPhone, I have Android. My Galaxy records at high definition, and I've showed you guys the footage that I've been able to shoot with my phone, being in Mexico or being in well, I guess we'll just use Mexico for that point of reference. The footage looks pretty good. Is it great? No. But does it need to be great if we're doing recap shows, if we're just talking about the product? You don't even need to record the full shows. Clips would suffice. But I mean, I think it's a little bit insulting to tell me like, oh, we can't record these shows. Do you know how much it costs to have a cameraman? Come on, guys. Come on. Get a roadie from Smashing Pumpkins and put a camcorder on him. It's fine. You don't need to worry about it. I appreciate the comment saying I look like Kevin Owens. I don't think I do, but a lot of people tell me that. So I'll take it. He is a former world champion. He's a good dude. He's a great human being. I like that. Heebs is in the house. What's up, Heebs? I will get to that in a second, Jeremy. He says, there's no need to pack a TV style camera, though. How many of us use HD quality cameras on our phones? I mean, look, my Samsung Galaxy phone was expensive. It was over $1,000. But you know what? I can record not in HD, but 4K. I can record in 4K. Put me ringside, Billy. I'll film it for free. I mean, not for free. You got to pay me to be there, right? But I mean, let's not act like the technology doesn't exist. And what is seriously 4 phones to Billy Corgan? Look, if you want to have a hard cam and have an actual like HD camera, cool. But you could literally have guys filming ringside with on their cell phones, and it would look good. Is it going to be the best quality? No. But that's what you have editing for, and you have the other Billy, the director of the show. I can't think of his name right now. I can guarantee you, if you got him the footage, he can make it look like magic. Jeremy says, give a fan a shirt to record it. Rick says, I recorded hundreds of shows on my phone and edited them, etc. They look just as good. Yeah, Billy Trask. Thank you for that, Jeremy. Billy Trask. Yeah, and this is silly. Like, you know what I mean? Let's not overcomplicate this. Do the studio programs look great? Absolutely. They look phenomenal. But if you have opportunity to record these shows, you should record everything. Everything. Get a couple of hard drives, record this stuff, save it, preserve it. This could be the future. You know, it makes me laugh, man. You look at Dave Marquez. Dave Marquez took an entire production to China and recorded a wrestling show in China. And were there assistants there? Yes, but guess what? Their native language was Mandarin, not English. Did they have interpreters? Sure, they figured it out. Similarly to the way that the NWA and AAA had their working agreement in Mexico City. Maybe even more hands-on, because I know there was at least one American camera operator in China when they were filming. So, okay, maybe I'm wrong. But, you know, Billy Corgan's a millionaire. And I like Dave Marquez, but I don't think he's a millionaire. Maybe he is. I could be mistaken, but I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. Kayfabe Heeb says, Josh Matthews once live streamed Twitch from his phone because TNA's pay-per-view feed stopped working. That's kind of sad and funny at the same time. And look, like I'm not trying to insult anybody here. Like, look, I know that Billy Corgan has a high level of production value he wants to exhibit. I get it. And they want their footage to look clean, crisp, and clear. I get it. I could shoot in 4K on my phone. It's like a Galaxy. It's in the other room right now, or else I would tell you exactly what model it is. But you could shoot in 4K. You don't even have to live stream it; just shoot it. You have Billy Trask throw it together, put a filter on it. I don't know. I'm oversimplifying it because I don't have to produce a pro wrestling show. But if I did, every single second of live wrestling would be recorded. Dark matches, live matches, main events, everything. We'd put everything on film or digitize or whatever you want to call it. Anyways, I'm getting off brand here, off topic here. I mean, of course, we're always going to smash on Billy Corgan and the NWA when they do things wrong. Very rarely do I pass up an opportunity to be negative, but I also like to be positive about the things that they're doing. And again, the World is a Vampire tour from Australia, even if they didn't record every episode, even if they only recorded some of these matches, I cannot stress enough that these have been golden. And especially when you consider now the game plan that when they came home, they didn't have enough content to stretch out to the 75th anniversary show, and the soonest that they can get back in the studios in middle of or second week of July. I'm so happy we have this Australian footage, and tonight's taping I think looks pretty good. We're going to have Thrillbilly Silas Mason defend against Jake Taylor in a no DQ match. I said defend against. There is no title on the line. There's no prize here, but a no disqualification match. That should be interesting. That looks like a lot of fun. We also have in action Emma Asman versus Alex Taylor. Again, that matchup looks really good on paper. I think that looks like a lot of fun. They were describing Asman as a very high-flying style of wrestler, which will blend well with Alex Taylor, who has a devil-may-care attitude while he's in the ring. So this should be a lot of fun, I think, too. I don't have the graphic for it, but we also have Natalia Markova, along with last week's her partner, her opponent last week, Aisha. They wrestled last week. This week, Aisha and Natalia Markova will be challenging Kenzie Paige, not Kylie Paige, Kenzie Paige, for that women's television championship. Interestingly enough, because they're bringing it onto TV now, this has to count in her best of 7. Remember, the same set of rules apply to the world's men's television championship as it does to the women's television championship, in that if they win 7 matches or have 7 successful title defenses, then they will be afforded the opportunity to cash in and challenge for the world championship, whether it be the men's 10 pounds of gold or the women's Burke. Either way, either option that can go. So that'll be kind of exciting. And then the other big title match for tonight, La Rebelion taking on the Natural Classics for the again, the NWA World Tag Team titles. This is the first title defense being televised for the La Rebellion in Australia, but they supposedly had about 9 defenses while there, meaning that there has been no tag team to defend on more continents than La Rebelion for those NWA tag team titles. I mean, we know that they defended them in Mexico. I believe they said they even defended them in Canada. We know that they've defended them all over the U.S. They've been part of AAA. The titles went to the United Kingdom as they defended there as well. Now defending in Australia with hopes of maybe potentially getting a opportunity to defend the titles in Japan is what they're looking for next. So who knows how that'll play out. Daga, we mentioned Daga earlier, is recently became the NOAH Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champion. It appears that there's a working relationship growing between AAA and Pro Wrestling Noah. And if that happens to spill into the NWA, I think a lot of us would be very excited about that. Let me get to some more of the comments. Steve G says Dave Marquez is a genius. Willie Bone agrees with that. Steve G says it's way past time Dave Marquez starts getting credit for what he's done in the wrestling industry. He's developed far more stars than VKM ever has. I mean, when we say he's developed them, you're right. Like he has the Dave Marquez would be like, if you compare it to baseball, he'd be like a scout, right? He's been able to procure talent. He's been able to grab talent from unknown places, unknown talent. Remember when he signed? When he brought Finn Balor to the United States. Finn Balor had been wrestling in Ireland and wrestling a lot of matches against talent from the United Kingdom. Of course, this title belt right here, the NWA British Commonwealth Championship, was traded back and forth between Drew Onyx and Finn Balor as they were defending that British Commonwealth title. This Commonwealth Championship came to Championship Wrestling, what would be Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, the NWA Pro, in their early Santa Monica dojo days. Dave Marquez found the Australians, and it's more like the Australians found Dave, but Mikey, oh man, why can't I think of his name? Mikey, I have to look it up now because it's driving me nuts. Mikey, I feel so stupid right now. Mikey Nichols, TMDK, Shane Haste, Mikey Nichols. Mikey Nichols and Hartley Jackson came to the United States to train at the Inoki Dojo, and of course Mikey Nichols became very important for the growth of the NWA in Australia by way of Dave Marquez. And he later came on to become of course Pro Wrestling Noah Tag Team Champion. TM61 got signed by NXT, and now he's in New Japan, I believe, currently. Machine Gun Carl Anderson, Adam Pearce. There's a lot of people that Dave Marquez has his stink on and have helped develop and grow. Rocky Romero, a lot of guys. TJ Perkins. Some of those guys don't even talk to him anymore, which is kind of sad. Dan Server, what are you doing? All right, let's see. Matthew Underwood's in the house. B. Anderson and Brian versus Country Gentleman. Are you saying Brian Pillman Jr.? That would be interesting. Brock and Pillman. My son is watching Rhodes versus Reigns right now, and he thinks having 2 world titles is dumb. You know, I don't disagree with having 2 world titles being dumb. However, I also grew up in the era of the All Japan Triple Crown title, and that thing looks so sexy to me. You had the PWF, oh man, I'm not doing well today. What were the Triple Crown? It was the NWA All Asian title. Oh man, you guys are killing me. Let's see. It was God, I feel like such a moron right now. The PWF World Heavyweight Championship, the NWA International Heavyweight Championship, and the NWA United National Championship. And that unification happened in '89 when Jumbo Sutra, who was the NWA International Heavyweight Champion, defeated Stan Hansen, who held the PWF World Title and the NWA United National Championship, bringing 3 belts together. So Hisa was on it. See, I should have just waited for Hisa to say it. And those titles, like, that was hot, man. To me, that there's nothing better looking than coming out with those 3 titles, the historical value that those titles have. Now, I agree, like, when you look at the WWE, and I know this isn't a WWE podcast or a live stream or whatever you want to call it. So when we start getting into the WWE talk, I know a few of you tune out, but having the World Heavyweight Championship, I think, is a huge thing for the WWE. Having the WWE World Championship is a huge thing. But this WWE Universal Championship, I think, is stupid. Like, they just created that title recently, and like you get WWF or WWE and WCW, you merge them together. You take the WWE champion and the world champion, you merge that title to make it the WWE Undisputed World Championship. Then you bring back the big gold belt and just call it the World Heavyweight Championship, and you have the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and then you merge those, and then a few years later you make the Universal Championship and the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and then you merge those, right? Now you have 2 belts over here, and then they bring back another title. It's just it's absurd. But when you go back to what they did with All Japan, where they kind of brought PWF, as far as I know, was like a dead wrestling promotion. I don't think it was really active at that point anyways. And you know, the Pacific Wrestling Federation, I think that was basically that promotion was done. I mean, it was that, I think that paved the way for All Japan Pro Wrestling. Hisa would know better than I would, and he's probably screaming at his phone right now, "No, you idiot, you got it all wrong." But yeah, I look, I think that's cool. And if the NWA were to ever do something like that, I wouldn't want them to have a title to compete with the 10 pounds of gold. I think that is the upper echelon of success. That is the measuring stick. That is the barometer of the NWA. Oh, okay. So Doty corrected me before Hisa could. PWF is not a dead promotion. It's like what the IWGP is to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Oh, so it's like their sanctioning body. Got it, Doty. That's okay. I did not know that. I'm not really up on my Puroresu history, but I do have a affinity for pro wrestling in Japan. I think a lot of it is great stuff, but I wasn't super familiar with the PWF. So okay, that's fair. That's fair. Anyway, you look at it, it stopped being referred to as the PWF World Heavyweight Championship in '89 when it was kind of just merged all together with All Japan Pro Wrestling, and that's when they called it the Triple Crown. Yeah, Hisa brings it up. PWF was phantom organization to sanction titles, not like what IWGP is to Japan. Okay. Now, Dodie. Now, I'm gonna ask you this because I know you're our staunch All Japan Pro Wrestling supporter. But what if, Dodie? What if I can't give you All Japan? What if the best I can do is Pro Wrestling Noah? What would you do with a Pro Wrestling Noah? Would you take that in lieu of All Japan Pro Wrestling? And the only reason why I asked, Dodie, is because I said earlier on the show that Daga, who works with AAA, has recently competed in All Japan Pro Wrestling. And in fact, if I go to World Title Histories, I should just have that bookmarked. I don't know why I don't. If I go to World Title Histories and I go to doing this live, it's kind of funny. I should have had this more well rehearsed. If I just Pro Wrestling Noah. Oh, that didn't work for me. I feel so stupid right now. I'm sorry, guys. Let's see. This is their World Junior Heavyweight Tag Titles. World's weight divisions of pro wrestling. I'm failing you, Hisa. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Japan. There it is. It took me a second, but I got it. I got what I'm looking for. The World Junior Heavyweight title. No, that's not what I wanted. Noah. Where's Noah? Pro Wrestling Noah. There it is. Huh. Well, we know that Hijo de Wagner Jr. is the current the Pro Wrestling Noah Junior Heavyweight Champion. I think I heard just recently that so Chris is already making the case for me in the comments section. I should have just looked at the screen. Noah is the best choice. Yeah, AAA and Pro Wrestling Noah have this working agreement, at least a loose working agreement, where we know Daga recently won, I think, their junior heavyweight tag team titles, and it just mentioned El Hijo de Wagner is competing in Noah. I believe he has one of their titles time as well. So I think if we're gonna, wish for a partnership with a Japanese wrestling promotion, Dodie, I think it's going to be Noah, because at least it has ties to the AAA, which has ties to the NWA, and kind of rivals what CMLL has with, AEW and really everyone else, AEW, Impact, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. See you later, Matt. Okay, if Billy decided it is what it is, but until there's official announcement, then I will bark All Japan or no Japan. All Japan or Dodie, that's funny, man. Bark Japan. I will bark All Japan or no Japan. I love it. Chris says Noah has that working relationship with AAA, so it makes a good business decision. Does All Japan even have current partnerships? I don't know. I don't know about that. So yeah. so kind of distraught because I'm just all over the place. You know who does a really good show is Tim from the Alliance Gold, but also the other Alliance Guys podcast. Him and Jeremy and Dave Scooby have a great show. It's well formatted. They have topics that they're going to talk about, and they run with those topics. Unlike J-Cal, who just rambles for an hour before Power. I do appreciate the effort that they put into that show. I have dragged it down a few times by being on it. It's always a good time for me, but I feel like I probably caused some unnecessary anxiety for Tim as he's trying to keep the show to less than 2 hours. Speaking of which, I did mention earlier this on the podcast, we are going to have Mr. Kerry Morton join us on this, well, not this show, on a very special episode of NWA. What am I saying? So you can't do two things at once, Jay. Stop trying. Kerry Morton Jr. Kerry Morton, your NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion, will be joining me tomorrow night after the other Alliance Guys podcast, as we have a special day and night for the Alliance Guys podcast. Kerry Morton as our special guest. That means we probably won't be live Thursday. Probably. Chris says, screw the Power preview. Let's talk about Morton and Brown. Mr. Drummond, Mr. Big Chris Dog, you missed the Power portion. You want to talk about Brown and Morton? We're gonna do that tomorrow night. But we can do the we could take the notes on it. It seemed to be pretty electric from some of the clips I saw. Apparently, Kerry Morton streamed it on his Twitch channel, but didn't save the video. So if you didn't see it, you missed it. Apparently, excuse me, it's up at World Title Match Network. And Steve, you're a sweetheart for saying that. This show gets by on a wing and a prayer. Like I said, the other guys have it really put together. This show, I do put a little bit more effort into making sure that our the Alliance Guys show is a little bit more formatted, but this is kind of like whatever you guys bring to the table, because you can very easily get me to talk about almost anything. I mean, on this show alone, we were talking early on about how it's BS that they don't have more footage from Australia, and how they might not potentially be airing footage from the charitable show, which I kind of understand that as well, but it's total missed opportunity if they don't. I was talking about that. We're talking about how Tyrus, how could he have gone so many days without defending the title? What kind of world champion is that? We were talking about a potential partnership with the NWA in Japan, and nobody from the NWA has mentioned that. That's purely speculation on my behalf. So yeah, this show is more of a mishmash, and I'm okay with that. It's a potpourri, if you will. Bring to the table what you'd like to discuss, and we will talk about it. I love Debbie. I'm drinking Blue Energy Tears. Oh, I didn't show you guys what my kids got me for Father's Day. I think it's pretty dope. It's a luchador bottle opener. And it's the, I guess that would be the head scissors takedown, or a Huracan Rana. What language is Huracan Rana? Is that Spanish? All right, so you want to talk about Chris, you want to talk about Morton and Brown? Okay, well, Barrett Brown showed up, showed out, put on a hell of a match, and impressed Kerry Morton. Kerry Morton did what Kerry Morton does, and that wins at any cost. He's still your World Junior Heavyweight Champion. Kerry Morton, he did what he had to do to retain his title, but put over, by simply saying that he wants to do that match again with Barrett Brown and said that he would do it in an NWA ring, speaks volumes about the character of Kerry Morton, speaks volumes about the respect that Barrett Brown earned on Friday night, June 23rd. And maybe the NWA actually is listening. Pat Kenny, Billy Corgan, Kyle Davis, Joe Galley, Gary Horn, for that. Everyone in that front office. Billy Trask, He-Bun, the photographer, anybody who'll listen. This needs to happen. Barrett Brown, when you look at the NWA, and one of the things, like there's an article that is in my head that I just need to write. It's the top 5 things the NWA has done right in 2023. Look, you have to celebrate the fact that Camille has been a dominant world's women's champion. And she's not just defending the title in the NWA. You have to be proud of Carrie Morton for taking that title to Australia, to Mexico, to Canada. It's coming next week or 2 weeks. You have to celebrate that. La Rebelion, regardless of how they won or lost Crockett Cup, they're still defending those tag titles and have been a dominant tag team ever since. There's a lot of things that they're doing right in the NWA. And, having Barrett Brown. Steve, you have a good one, brother. Dave Scooby says it's a win-win situation, wraps the story. Plus, we get to see Barrett back in the NWA. Having Barrett Brown join the NWA roster, it does a couple of different things. One, people have seen Barrett Brown wrestle in New Japan Strong. Stray Dog Army, teams with Bateman, teams with Mysterioso, excuse me. He's earned credibility, and that credibility follows him. When he won the Junior Heavyweight Championship back in 2017, he was a very young man. He's still a young man. Obviously, he's a lot better wrestler today than he was in 2017. You add Barrett Brown to that junior heavyweight division, and it instantly gets better. That's not even up for debate. Joe Alonzo's fantastic. Colby Carino, a great wrestler. And it's funny because I wasn't a huge Colby fan. The more I see of him, the more I like of him. I don't know what they're doing with Homicide. I don't know if he's actually, unofficially retired, but we haven't seen him in a ring since the Mexico event. So maybe he's done. But you've got, again, let's disqualify Homicide because we haven't seen him in a while. Let's just look at the active competitors. You've got Alex Taylor. You've got Joe Alonzo. You've got Colby Carino. That's 3 very tough competitors that can be challengers for Carrie Morton's World Junior Heavyweight Championship. You add into that mix somebody like a Barrett Brown, that's you just made the division even stronger. And if they decide to be smart and put Gags in that division or Sal in that division and really kind of bolster the junior heavyweight division, like it can be very, very good. And that's one of the problems that I've had with the NWA in the past that I feel like in recent times they've gotten better at. You look at the women's tag team division and what exactly is it? And I like, there's a lot of great talented females in the NWA, but there isn't much of a division to speak of for the women's tag titles. Even the TV title is kind of questionable. Like, who really is in the women's NWA women's division? You tell me about Natalia Markova, Kylie Paige and Kenzie Paige and M95 and Ella Envy and then who? Max? Okay, that's 7 women. You've got 4 titles for 7 women, and then there's kind of like a cycling door that we have people come in, come out, come in, come out, come in, come out. So I'm not going to hold my breath for any of that, right? But they're starting to try to make more tag teams. You got M95. That wasn't a tag team a year ago. That's a tag team now. You've got Pretty Empowered, right? They need to focus on adding some more tag teams. I think that is hurting their division. There's not enough talent to go around. But the junior heavyweight division right now, with the addition, if they add Barrett Brown to the division, I mean, it really takes it up a level. You look at the world heavyweight title picture. We talked about who could potentially take the belt off of Tyrus. We've been talking about that for months, but I'll go with the quick and easy ones, right? EC3 is the number 1 contender by way of being the national champion. If our television champion can go through the best of 7 series, then Tom Latimer would be your next guy. And then after Tom Latimer, then you've got Chris Adonis, who's always a threat to that title. So that's 3 quality opponents for Tyrus. But let's not forget guys like Trevor Murdoch, former champion, or a guy like Jack Stain, a former champion, who could slot in there at any time you need them to, right? And that's not even talking about guys like Jordan Clearwater, who are fringe level, could be maybe the next guy, Dax Draper, right? Scion. All these guys are former title holders or could potentially be title holders, and it wouldn't take much to get them in that world title picture. So I feel like that's one of the things the NWA has been doing better in 2023. And to kind of bring it back to where I was going with, you bring Barrett Brown into that junior heavyweight division, and you have a solid, at least 5 guys that could potentially challenge Kerry Morton on any given night. And on any given night, would it be shocking if Alex Taylor won that title, or if Barrett Brown came in and won that? A lot of us believed Barrett Brown was going to leave Texas, leave Arlington, leave VIP Wrestling as your world junior heavyweight champion. It didn't happen. But if it did, would any of you have been shocked? I wouldn't have. So, getting back to tonight's wrestling, of course, like I said, the tag titles are on the line. The women's television championships on the line. Kyle Davis pointed out that it's officially now a women's world television championship. And I believe at this point that world TV title for the women has been more visible than the world TV title for the men. Famously, Tyrus just started calling it the World TV title, but it never crossed any particular boundary to become a world title. I mean, when they went to Mexico, they didn't bring the national title. They didn't bring the television title. Camille brought her championship. Kerry Morton brought his championship. Tyrus brought his championship, and Loud Rebellion brought their championship. But we didn't see any world titles. The TV title was not there. The national title wasn't there. So it begs the question, are they actually world titles? Can you call it a world television title? I don't know. Let's see. We got to all the comments. Dave Scooby said Alex Taylor. I think he was adding one of the names that maybe I left off, but I thought I mentioned Alex. So, but again, tomorrow night. Oh, Jeremy says Tyrus added the world to it for the same reason he has. Jeremy with the joke of the night. Sorry, Willie. Tyrus added world to it for the same reason he adds gravy to everything, to give it some more flavor. Oh my God. That's terrific. That's amazing. Of all the names that I mentioned as potential world champion, we didn't even mention this guy. And most of you won't ever have this, but I have it. And that is the Silas Mason customized wrestling figure from Remco, with his world heavyweight championship on it, because he's going to be your future world heavyweight champion someday. Man, we're going to get some Southern Six tonight. That sounds, you got to say it slower, because if you say it fast, it sounds inappropriate. We are going to have the Southern Six tonight. We're going to have the Southern Six in Highland Park. The Southern Six is happening, and I'm just going to leave you with that. I think this is a good place to stop for today. I appreciate you guys being here again. Tomorrow night, check out the other Alliance guys who will come on the air at approximately 6:05 Eastern to pay homage to the old Saturday night timing on TBS. They will be back. I'm seeing all these things pop up. Lamb is here. Cool for NWA fans to see the National Classic today. The Natural Classic. What is the Natural Classic, Lamb? Oh, you're talking about that tag team? The Natural Classics? Yes, that's what Lamb was talking about. Oh, I lost everything. Where is it? Yes, the Natural Classics. The Natural Classics. Yes. It will be cool. I'm looking forward to seeing them. the lot of Rebellion put them over pretty hard yesterday on the the NWA podcast. So yeah, I'll be interested to see them. But yes, make sure you come on tomorrow, same channel, 6:05 p.m. to pay homage to the old start times on TBS. It'll be Tim, Jeremy, and Scooby as they talk about, of course, well, there is no United Wrestling Network. There was Derby City and Memphis, so they'll be talking about that. I'm not sure what else they'll be talking about on that episode, but I know there'll be some fantasy booking with Dave Scooby and probably talking a little bit about what's happening with the NWA, especially in Australia, and what's going on for the TV tapings. And then join us after that at 8 p.m. Eastern as Kerry Morton joins me here on this podcast. Well, that'll be the Alliance Guys podcast. And we'll be talking about the Barrett Brown situation. We'll be talking about his upcoming title defenses in Canada, why he won't be at the charity show because he'll be in Canada for I think he's in Ontario. Anyways, he'll be on. We'll talk some more NWA with Kerry Morton, and it should be a lot of fun. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate you guys being here each and every Tuesday. It's always a blast for me to do this show and bring my enthusiasm for the NWA and share it with you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. We will be here again Wednesday night. So until then, we'll see you at the match.
El actual campeón completo junior NWA.
Thanks for checking out the Pre-Party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. You should hit that subscribe button and join our community. I also want to remind you that we recap NWA POWERRR every Thursday at 8 p.m. in the live stream. We try to stay social, so find us at the Alliance blog. And until next time, we all